Hello and happy Women Entrepreneurship Day for everybody around the world. My name is Viola Edward, and it's my honor and pleasure to be interviewing one of dear friend and woman of inspiration to so many of us. Is a social entrepreneur, and she's been in the field for so long. And I'm so happy to be today in between all the celebration we have for Women Entrepreneurship Day to have this chance to interview Laura Giadorou Koch. Let me tell you, welcome Laura, how are you?
Thank you. I am honored to be here as always.
Yes, let me tell you a little bit about Laura. So, founder and chief engagement officer, Women for Solution, change maker, impact investor, system social entrepreneur, philanthropist, and lawyer. Licensed in Argentina and the state of New York. For over 2 decades, she focused on microfinance, innovation, technologies, education, and gender issues. As I said before, founder and CEO of Women for Solution, which is a global network of women and men entrepreneurs who advocate for inclusive and regenerative business and governmental policies, seeking to balance purpose and profit in the markets toward a caring economy. I have to tell you, before I met Laura, I really didn't know anything about caring economy. I've been like a year and a half now, almost 2 years, studying with her about it and fascinated. Of course, in many ways, we've been practicing it without a name, but it's so nice to know about it. So Laura, it's so nice to be with you today, celebrating Women Entrepreneurship Day and Social Entrepreneurship Day. So I have a series of questions for you. One of them is, what is the difference between an enterprise and a social enterprise? And what is their origin?
Oh my God, I love that question. One of the things I have done is for practically 10 years before I became a CEO of Dolium, the winery of my family winery, I was teaching social entrepreneurship in the early 90s in high schools and colleges at the Columbia University, NYU, Fordham, and then a lot of high schools in the area of New York, Connecticut, and DC. And why was I doing this? Is because I truly believe the essence of a social entrepreneur is inside of us, and we need to open it up. And so I went school to school to teach this. And I taught, what is a social entrepreneur? And the first thing I asked the student was, so are you complaining about something? And they would say, I complain about the food, I complain about this, I complain about the dirt and this. And then I said, what are you doing then? You know what a social entrepreneur does? They stop complaining, they pull up their sleeves up, and they do something with so much conviction that they change the world. And so from schools to school, I've seen many changes happen, small, big, but that's how what a social entrepreneur, if you have to define it, you can say it shakes the problems, mostly poverty, inequality, injustice, and speed sustainable systems that change with great solutions. But the solutions are very simple because they are so easy to implement that they scale and scale and scale. For example, 14-year-old girl, sister, her problem was that his brother was always bullied because he was autistic and or mildly autistic. And so how did she solve the problem? She started a program of education in her school about how to teach kids about how to deal with kids that are autistic. This was fantastic. But there's more. 40-year-old Ursula, 1986 in Germany, her problem was Chernobyl and then Fukushima. Remember the explosion of the nuclear power disaster. And she said, I'm a mother, I have kids. I don't want to live in a place where my kids will be deformed or have a problem. So her simple solution was to found an organization called EWS to inspire all her neighbors to start using renewable, to cut themselves out of the electric grid and provide electricity in the group. And she was a citizen, like anybody. And so today, she mobilized her neighbors for many, many years, and she did it. Today, her company, EWS, in 2009 was worth 69 million euros. In 2010, 82 million. And by 2011, her dream came true when Germany, lawmakers, and Merkel behind it, decided that they were going to close in Germany the electric plants and go for renewable. Basically, any citizen like you, me, anybody that has a feeling of a simple solution, and they can change insurmountable social problems. And how did this happen? You know, when you look at how do social entrepreneurs scale the action, is, you see, if you look at history, I love history. Who were the change makers in history? Well, you had women like Jane of Arc, Mother Teresa, Maria Montessori. You know, all these women and many women that were burned at the stake also, and but they were martyrs. Then, in the last 50 to 100 years, we had a major change in our world where we have more democracies. People were freer. And we said, oh, great, the government will take care of poverty, inequality, environmental issues. Guess what? It didn't. So for many years, we were waiting and waiting and waiting for the government to do things. And then citizens like you and me started to become social entrepreneurs, and just with their faith and maybe no skills at all to start companies, NGOs, and what drove them was to create real change. So 40 years. Yes, sorry. I can continue forever.
Thank you. I just wanted to say that you're so passionate about social enterprises. For over 20 years, you have been teaching and inspiring youth on starting their own social enterprises. You have taught in Columbia University, New York University, Fordham, Kiva University, Lancaster, and many high schools in the US, New York City, and DC, and Argentina. So when we were talking, I remember that was part of your bio that I didn't mention, and you can see the passion and it's not just a concept, it's the way of living, and it's the way how you've been doing for many years now, teaching and inspiring many of us to go into this way. So which was the first social enterprise, and which one was led by women?
Well, you can't say which was the first social enterprise, one specifically. It was a movement. But one of the most effective and most radical changes for social enterprises was called was microfinance. Microfinance changed the world from practically where people would live at $1 a day, and with social with this social construct that Mohammed Yunus or other organizations like Grameen or Finca, Pro Mujer, Acción, and Pro Mujer and Acción were all started by women. And what they did is a simple solution. They gave small loans to women, mostly because actually it was tried on men, but it didn't work so well. When poor people were given little loans, they would use them for alcohol and other things. And instead, women, because they love their kids, and also men love, but they just felt they had to, with that little loan, they will immediately progress and progress and progress and pay for their kids' studies and clothes and roof and food.
Yeah.
And yeah, and so that's how the first social entrepreneur that scaled in a big way, because now microfinance is a $90 billion industry worldwide.
Yeah. So many of these social enterprises that were created to solve, it seems like were created to solve big human challenges. Yes. Mm-hmm. Like the one you were saying before after the atomic explosion. So what sector of economy were they focusing on mostly? And what's the contribution of women? I know you mentioned, but what's the contribution of women in these areas?
Well, mostly the focus is poverty, inequality, and injustice. And it works. And women have been the pioneers in many aspects to help other women. Or education. You have a friend of mine called Aleta Margolis. She started, her problem was that teachers were not having the training and the courage to actually get to encourage children to study or to work or to understand. And so she created this social enterprise in Washington, D.C., where she formed and inspired teachers to actually become change makers, to see problems and immediately solve them. It's like a mindset of a social entrepreneur. Then you have Lily Tepa, a widow in Nepal. When her husband died, she lived in her own, the incredible problem that women worldwide have when they become widows. They are suddenly, a widow does not exist. You know, social and cultural norms expect that widow become part of the in-law family and just become a servant and do many other things that people that are really not human rights acceptable. And so she started in Nepal with a simple solution by empowering women, helping change the laws, and creating real change for women that were really in a very dire situation. Then you have another woman, Albina Ruiz from Peru, another amazing woman. I've met her a few times. So she says, I have created garbage to gold. In 1986, she was the first director of the municipality of Lima. And one of her problems was the corruption of garbage collection. Guess what? Lima was dirty everywhere. So how will she clean trash and prevent all this trash to go to the river? So she had a simple solution. She created small little bicycles that could be going to these windy roads and collect the garbage. But who did she hire? She hired the people, the jobless, the homeless. And suddenly she started to create an economy for all these people. This organization, Ciudad Saludable, has become such a great model that has been repeated and copied in India, in Brazil, in many countries of the world, because it works. And so she today is a waste management expert. It's a new profession of many. Then you have, I'll tell you one more story. One more story. Giora Bila Ma from India, Helpline, she created in 1996. Her problem was that she was a social worker, and all the kids she helped in the streets could not have who had always abuse and had really difficulty doing things. So she created a telephone line where kids can call if they have if they were abused of, and then they would enter the system of education. Then you have another dear friend called Mary Gordon. She started something called Roots of Empathy that I love. She actually created in 1996 this small little program to solve the problem of bullying. She believed people had to learn how to care. And where we know now, neuroscience, we know from psychology that kids are the most important. What parents do to kids and what schools do to kids' brain are key for empathy. So she started Roots for Empathy by bringing, I mean, her concept was brilliant and so special, bringing a baby between 4 months to 8 months into a classroom, and the baby was in a green rug, and then all the kids between 5 to 13-year-old will be part of, for a year, will be part of for every week the baby would come in, and the kids that could really relate to that baby, because they were babies not too long ago, could understand the purity and the beauty of this kid, and there was a lot of program behind it, and it works. It's magical. It's used in Europe, in New Zealand, in Australia. It's a beautiful, beautiful program. Basically, what Mary Gordon did through all these 40, 50 years is she accelerated global empathy movement. Then you have another woman that I admire deeply is Mother Teresa. I mean, she's like a saint, but she operated her business of helping dying people as a CEO, as a real CEO. She was amazing. She was brilliant in everything she did. Very, very energetic and to earth. She had hundreds of employees, and he had offices all over the world. So it was not just a kind little lady. No, she was tough and very focused on her mission to make sure that people, when they're dying, no matter where they were, have a good death. Anyway.
Yes, thank you so much. So it seems that many social enterprises were created to solve, as we said, these big human challenges. But it was difficult for them to survive. And given that they were not just about making money, but also solving human challenges, but also making money, not to be dependent of others, how can you share how did they survive for decades? Because now we all know about it, but when they started 60s, 70s, 80s, they were real pioneer of social entrepreneurship.
Exactly. And so, at that point, it was very simple. Businesses were the ones that made money were to give value to the shareholders. And so these companies that were not giving value to the shareholders were giving value to the society, changing society, making lives of other people much better. But all the profits would come back into the company. And so they created hybrid models of non-for-profit and for-profit. And that was a beautiful way to start. But they also needed investors. So then at that, maybe 50 years ago, very slowly, some people, some pioneers started something called impact investment, where when they invest in a company, they invest not only on making money, maybe a little bit less than if they would or not, but they were also valuing what value that company was giving to society. And today, BlackRock, the $70 trillion funds, the vanguards of the world have impact investment funds. And apparently, it seems like 45% of all the money in the world is actually invested today, 2021, in impact elements. Because we have shifted. We have shifted from social entrepreneur who did what the government could not do to now companies are doing what governments are not doing.
Take your time. It's part of the passion. Huh? Let's take deep breath, all of us. And Laura is starting her day in New York, and well, she started many hours ago. And I am here in Cyprus, one event after the other, celebrating Women Entrepreneurship Day that we do every year on the 19th of November. And it's the beauty of course, all the year we are working for and supporting each other, but it's good to one day in a year, we make a lot of light and noise and connection with it. So Laura, you're very passionate about caring economy that you launched in Women for Solution a few years ago. Can you share with us about this and how does it relate to social entrepreneurship?
Thank
I
you.
want the world to know about it.
I know. I think that, as you see, because I had all these 10, 15 years of background of social entrepreneurship, where we're trying to find simple, effective solutions to solve social problems, as always. And what is it, the essence of these social entrepreneurs is that they care. They deeply care. And so when you look at what they're doing, is they're focusing on caring for people and the environment, and the caring economy is a system that no matter race or color or where you are in the world is all the same, because humans are wired, our brain is wired to care for others. As Margaret Mead, the anthropologist, said, how did our society, our civilization start? And she said, very simple, when we find in our excavations a healed, broken femur bone. Femur bone is our biggest bone in our leg. And you know, if an animal is left in the wild with a broken femur bone, it dies within a few weeks or days. And the same with a human being at that time. So when people started to care for others, that's when our civilization started to expand and to grow. And that's why through the centuries and millennials, human beings, our brains started to become more and more connected to caring for others, because that is our essence. And even Margaret Mead said, it seems that our evolution has brought us more into caring. And so Women for Solution was created practically 3 years ago to actually find the simple solutions that exist already, because I think that everything is out there that we can scale and help expand. And that's what we're doing.
Wonderful, wonderful. And I am part of the board of Women of Solution, and also I represent, I'm the co-ambassador for We Do, Women Entrepreneurship Day organization for Cyprus. Women Entrepreneurship Day organization was created by Wendy Diamond, that you also know personally, Laura, and she's been doing great work around the world, and I think we have more than 150 countries, and so she's constantly working for the voice of women around the world. So also we want to mention you today, Wendy. Thank you very much for all what you do. And thank to all the women around the world for all their social responsibility, positive impact. There is so many associations that Laura, you and me belong to and support in one way or another, or we are in the board, or we give some consultancy that we will not have maybe time here to name them all, but we want to thank you all for all what you do. And let's go back to caring economy and why we are doing all what we're doing around the world. And with you, Laura, that you've been pioneering beautiful program of caring economy and gender parity. And now it's around a year that this program have been running.
No, it's 3 years. We started our first pilot program in 2019. And since then, we've launched many. We've already trained more than 2,000 women in this program,
Yes.
in English and Spanish, in Pakistan, in Africa, and Latin America, and Europe.
Yes, I beg your pardon. I am in this program since 1 year, and now we're starting India and Kenya soon, and Nigeria, and it has been going for LATAM. And recently we finished the one for Argentina, didn't we? Just this week we had. Do you want
Argentina.
to tell us?
And we did also one for Ecuador that was very successful. And we're having one for Mexico and Central America shortly.
Yes. Do you want to tell us a little bit about this program?
This program is a 7 to 10 weeks, 12 weeks long, where we divide it in 2 sections. One is for is self-development and impact corporate development, or business development into sustainability. So the first one is to understand better who we are. What is the how can we as individuals help in the caring economy? And the second part is about sustainability. I'm passionate about sustainability. I've been the CEO of a B certified company that is highly social and environmentally responsible company for many years, and I saw that most women leading these companies become socially and environmentally responsible. And so I thought, we need to inspire every single woman to become a B certified company so that we can really focus on this important challenge we have worldwide, that is that we don't want to be burned alive in a few years, as they say.
Yes.
And
and Laura, you, me, and Noha, which is the CEO of the People of Impact, we've been talking for some months now, like a branch from the caring economy. We've been talking about caring alliances, and we've been developing that concept. And today, celebrating Women Entrepreneurship Day, I want to tell you that even though the concept is not fully developed, but it is, because we all work with the goal number 17 of the SDGs, and we know that only through real heart-connected partnership and also brain-connected partnership, and as you teach us, having matrices to measure the changes, is when we're going to be able to make those changes. So through alliances, and we've been talking for a long time, together is better. And lately I feel like as much as I care for you in Women for Solution, I care for me as much as I care for Noha in People of Impact, as much as I care for we do, as much I all reflect into the caring for myself and vice versa. So as a psychotherapist, I engage everywhere where I go to keep taking care about yourself as individual, to keep working in your health in a holistic way, as emotional well-being and mental health fitness, because you are so needed in this world of the caring economy. And really, when you keep taking care about yourself and learn how to set boundaries and learn how to say sweet no's and firm yes, and learn how to, move when areas are not good for you anymore, or stay longer even when it's challenging because it's good for you, and especially for us women, that's very, very important to heal any wound that we keep carrying from the past, because many of us, we have long grieving process. We have lost many things along the way. And this grief can be very heavy on us. For that, it's so important to go to mentoring, to go to therapy, clear yourself, put yourself in the depth of humanity, but lighten yourself from a lot of baggage and luggages that you've been carrying. For us, it happened to me for many, many years. For that, we have added one of the session of caring economy and gender parity. We have added the mentoring, the mentorship, and also we have one of the sessions that I do with my sister, which is about grit and how you can make your qualities your capital, and how you're never alone and you're never poor. You're never alone and you're never poor if you really learn how to ask for help sooner and how to get in connection with your inner resources. So as Laura said, those programs are a lot of, in a very dynamic and light way, is a lot taste of self-development, and later you can choose to go to any of us that we have programs for these matters that we talk about, and also the understanding of our right as women, because many of us, we don't know the depth and the wideness of our right in several countries, isn't it, Laura?
Yeah, I couldn't support you more in this, actually. And as you have invited me to write things, articles and chapters, there's two more elements that I believe that are key for the caring economy. And one that I will not develop today, but I will that I wrote about how important consumers. I mean, these social entrepreneurs that were very mavericks in the world, suddenly the consumers have become the purposeful generation that are moving forward changes as well. But the other is the coaches and the mentors of the world. We truly believe that if we want to move forward a caring economy, coaches and mentors, either a coach or a coachee or a mentor or a mentee, are change makers. They help people find their purpose. And that's a key element for our humanity to become more caring.
Yes, beautiful, beautiful indeed. And you become more caring when you care about yourself. So I keep repeating that, because us women, we're so empathetic, and we're so, this motherhood in us, even the one like me that we didn't have our own children, we have this motherhood in action. So we care a lot about others, but it's very important to reverse that process to the self and carry all. It's like double way, yeah? You're carrying for yourself and you're carrying for others, and then you're carrying for the community and for the environment, and you're asking for help on time, and you're celebrating each other on time, and helping each other to grow.
I want to add one thing that I'm very passionate about, is that through Women for Solutions, one of the elements of this course is non-conflict, the art of everyday peacemaking. And in this course, in this certification that I also give, what we start for people to really deal with conflict as an opportunity for growth and opportunity for learning, one has to actually start to have more empathy on oneself. Because if you don't have empathy on you and love you, it's very hard to then really be connected with the other person and try to solve problems.
So Laura, dear, in this very special day, 19th of November, and we are celebrating the Women Entrepreneurship Day, what is your major or your most significant message for people? I would not say for women, I would say for people around the world, now that we are in 2021, and knowing that every day, every month, every year, as we grow older, we grow wiser, and our needs and our desires also change as we change or expand or take like a rhythm, different rhythm that how we were a decade ago. What will be your message?
Well, if there's one thing to remember from this talk, is to try to find out what brings you alive, what makes you energized. Because we need to stop complaining and do something. Stop complaining the climate change and start buying things as a sustainable and caring. And how do you start? You start with small things. Before you go to sleep, you write down what you're going to do and what are you going to change, what are you going to do, and then in the morning you're going to do it. Because you see, our mind is built to strengthen through habits, through changes. You see, one little drop of water does nothing, but many small little drops of water every day consistently create a huge canyon. So I truly believe that if you want to do it and make a change, it is fundamental to help yourself either by finding a mentor, a mentee, or a coach, or doing it alone if you have a strong will, because together we all need to become more purposeful and more caring. And that's my message. We all need to focus on that caring economy.
Yes. And talking about care and about sisterhood is such a joy for me to have developed this sisterhood with you, Laura, through this time of where we were not able to travel and we still didn't give a hug to each other, but we are in connection, if it's not every other day, every week, because of something that's happening to us or because of something that we want to share with each other, being a book, being an article, or being an event, or just to take care of each other and see how we are. So I want to tell you that also being adaptable to changes is a huge quality. And I could really talk about this today more than a concept, because we experience it. We experience how this change come to us in March 2020 and how we kept loving, we kept caring for each other. Our world become wider, our service become sharper. And I would say, if you focus on what is caring for the self and for the others in a holistic way, really, this concept of caring economy in these four pillar, it gives you such a wide understanding of how the world could be moving in a more sustainable way. I would say nothing can stop us, because while we are breathing, we are alive. And while we are alive, we have infinite possibilities to help, to change, to expand, to support, and to serve. And in this note, I want to wish you all a very joyous day and a very joyous week and month and years to come. And let's keep in connection, because together we can do it greater. We can go further. And of course, when we say let's do it together, doesn't mean that we have to do everything together. Means as much as you want to be with me, as much as I want to be with you, let's do that part of the path together, or maybe together with somebody else that I know, because maybe I could not serve you in this moment, but somebody else that I know. And this is what is smart connection, what is beautiful, creating beautiful and smart relationship, heart connected, brain connected, guts connected. In that note, I want to wish you all very, very happy day. And we will be talking with you in Women for Solution Dialogue very soon, because we have this, isn't it, Laura? We will have many interviews like this, dynamic, related to what's happening in the world. What you can tell us about Women for Solution Dialogues?
Thank you. And basically, for the last 3 years, we've been creating these amazing dialogues or webinars where we share for 60 minutes our passion, and we bring forward simple solutions or simple ideas to make big changes in our world.
Indeed.
So on that, thank you, Viola, and we are all ready to move forward on this beautiful November 19th, 2021 day.
Yes. So remember, simple solution for big changes. Simple. One breath at a time, one day at a time, one idea at a time, and together. See you next time. Bye-bye.